And we have another one on these college campuses with campus reform. God, they do such a great job at exposing the left out of these college campuses. I say it all the time, colleges are left wing indoctrination camps. And I'll prove it to you in another video on these college campuses. I say left wing for a few different reasons. They are all owned, operated, and funded by left wing supporters. They disregard right wing opinions almost completely. They have almost 0% conservative professors. In fact, one of the last remaining conservative professors they had, Jordan Peterson, was fired because he refused to refer to one of his young lady students, who was previously known on campus as a girl. He refused to refer to her as a boy that she preferred to one day out of the blue. And he was fired for it because colleges no longer value the truth, just like the left. They hide the truth from you. They make you hate America and everything that built this country. This video is subjected around socialism. Capitalism built this country, yet all of these students favor socialism and communism. I think that we all can agree, everybody that goes to college, that the majority of these students are far left or liberal. But I could talk about colleges all day. The interviewer in this video is going to explain what's going on, so let's jump right in.
I'm Kevin Phillips with Campus Reform. Today we're at Florida International University talking to students about their opinions of socialism and if they'd support a socialist GPA policy. Would they be willing to share their high GPA with people that have a low GPA? Because after all, it's all about equality. Which would you rather have in America, socialism or capitalism?
I would say socialism.
How do you view the word socialism, favorably or unfavorably?
I guess I would go with favorably.
Like, I have family in Europe. They go to college for free. Their healthcare is paid for. They don't have to worry about it at all.
So I talk to people all around the world. I have a close friend in Canada, and aside from everybody in that population having to pay 40 to 50% of their income to fund these free healthcares and these free colleges, from my understanding, it's not what it's hyped up to be. The healthcare system lacks profession. The surgeons and the doctors aren't as qualified as they are, or they should be. They have a lack of staff running the hospitals, the equipment, the treatment, the medical devices are not up to date. They have, I mean, it take you a long time to get in there for treatment anyway. You don't just go into the emergency room with a broken arm and they metal plate you up, stitch you up, cast you up, and then you go home. Take you a long time to get in there. There's almost no organ transplants for a couple different reasons. Same with the colleges. It take you a long time to get in there, and then they pick your college for you. They pick your majors, they pick your classes, whatever they need you to do to fund a socialist society. If anybody lives in these type of free healthcare, free college states and societies, then just let me know in the chat. Let's continue.
I favor that over capitalism.
Okay, got it.
I also think I favor that, like, socialism over capitalism.
Socialism is more geared toward like helping the people in the governed.
I'd rather people have that same opportunity. There's a lot of excess in America.
The main idea of socialism being that people at the top are doing their fair share to help people at the bottom, trying to prevent disparity of income and trying to prevent excess, as you called it. So on campus, if there's a GPA disparity where there's people at the bottom with a poor GPA, would you support a policy where people at the top spread the wealth and give that GPA to people at the bottom?
Help them get a better GPA.
Yeah.
I'm all for helping. I wouldn't give let me just give you some of my points.
But it's about being fair, right? We got to help people at the bottom.
I've lost a lot of sleep, so I don't know if I will be fair.
It's hard. I guess it would be kind of like hypocritical for me to say no.
That's completely different.
How is it different?
Because I'm like studying all day for my grade.
Exactly, and it's not that much different. I'll give you an example. Use Jeff Bezos as an example. Whether we like the guy or not, he's created an amazing thing with Amazon. I mean, how many people does he employ who are in need? How many people? I mean, I'm pretty sure we know somebody who's employed by Amazon. He's done great things with the products and the companies getting out there to people who need it. I'm pretty sure we all benefit from Amazon in some way. You get free Prime if you are in school. Not to mention the sellers on the site are literally millionaires. I mean, the guys created millionaires and gave jobs to millions of people. Raised the minimum wage expectation to $15 an hour. It's exactly the same as their GPA. I mean, he worked for that too. Do we not think that he should be make any money off of it? You know, none of us here would, if we came into $1 million tomorrow, we wouldn't want to give $500,000 up to reduce the wealth gap. The same with their GPA.
Grade.
What do you mean by sharing it? Like literally, like giving them a chunk of my GPA?
Yep.
Dang.
I would want to say no, straight up.
But what's the difference between earning a high GPA and not wanting to give it away, but then earning a lot of money and also not wanting to give that away?
Well, I feel like the difference is that you study for your grades, right? And grades often reflect how much time you spend studying. But
You gotta work pretty hard to become a millionaire.
I mean, I'm not denying that fact either, but for the regular working person, you know.
Do you think there's a
For the regular working person, and I could be wrong. I know at least in my area, waitresses and waiters, they make $2.14 an hour, but their tips often come out to more income than the quote unquote regular working person makes. But for the regular working person, I don't think there's many people who make the minimum wage. I think we all pretty much make $1, $2, $3 over the minimum wage, right? So I'm not really sure what the regular working person means.
Working person, you know.
Do you think there's a similarity between earning your salary and maybe not wanting to give it away to people that aren't working to earn it? And same thing with the GPA, where you earn it and you say, well, I don't necessarily want to give it to anyone who might not be working for it.
Right. I think it's just that whole sense of thinking that no one's going to work for it.
I mean, I sacrifice a lot to get my GPA. You know, I don't go out as much as I'd like to, but that's for something like a greater goal in the future, the way I see it. So no, I wouldn't sacrifice my own things, like sacrifice my own time to help somebody else who didn't want to make those same sacrifices.
There's some people who are in the bottom, but they really are working, and there's some people who are in the bottom and they deserve that poor GPA.
Kind of like people making money with their income?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like some people. Let's not throw shade.
She want to be nice, but I ain't got to be nice. There's some people who ain't never going to get off their behind for nothing in this world will make them do nothing. There's some people working at McDonald's. Then let's go up a pay grade to being a mechanic. Let's go up a pay grade to CDL, truck driver. How many people are willing to take that step to go through the DOT physicals, all the drug tests, all the follicle tests, that 1 month of training, that $20K that you got to put up to get the license, and then drive that big truck to get them big dollars? You know, a lot of people would much rather be at McDonald's, and I'm not, you know, knocking McDonald's or anything, but we can all probably start working at McDonald's tomorrow. No background check, not really many requirements. There's some people who would just never get off their butt for nothing. I'm going to use my brother as an example. In and out of prison his whole life. Ended up, his last time was a 6-year bid. He get out, and he ended up making $17 an hour. And that was around the time that everybody was making $11, $12 an hour. So it's about if you making those moves or not. And I don't think I should be at fault if you don't want to get up off your behind, and I am.
Not throw shade.
But isn't it about helping the less fortunate?
Basically profiting off of my work for you. So who's really the bad guy here?
I don't think that'd be a good idea, because then you're taking away from people that earn that grade. And what about the ones that aren't really working hard for their grades? So they're just going to get something they don't really deserve.
Got it. And do you think it's similar with your salary?
Yeah, I definitely do.
No, that's the complete opposite of meritocracy. It's
Okay.
the complete opposite. That's like awful.
I don't think they're comparable because your GPA is not directly linked to like your quality of life necessarily.
But you still have to earn it the same way you would have to earn a salary, right?
Well, I don't think most rich people in this country necessarily earn it. Much of that money is inherited. Much of that money, is made from the stock market, which isn't. They're not actually working for that. They're pressing a button behind a computer for that. I mean,
So it is completely comparable. Somebody who's in the stock market, buying stocks, moving bonds, to somebody working in college. It's not any physical labor related. So called, they're behind a screen pressing buttons, and same thing with your electronic class. You lose the same amount of sleep. You study the same amount of time that they study to be able to get the result out of stocks and bonds that you do for that GPA. You're moving a pen and paper all day. There's no physical labor there. It's absolutely comparable. With inheritance, and I could be wrong, I think somewhere around 30% of the top 10% inherited their wealth. The other 70% busted their balls to get that. And it benefited a lot of people. I don't think that it's right to blame people who want to pass down their wealth after a lifelong of work. That's what we all want to do, right? And I don't think it's right to blame the inheritor either, because every single one of us would take that money.
Well, I mean, then there would be no point to having a GPA because then if everyone has the same, then there's no metric, right?
But it's all about fairness, right?
Well, like, is it fair? Like, I look at it this way, right? Is it fair for everyone to have the same outcome or to have the same opportunity, right? For me, having the same opportunity is what is fair, right? Not the same outcome, right? Because if I work harder than you and I get a better result, then it is only fair that I get a better grade or I get a better opportunity than you, right?
That's right. So, no, he's definitely right. Like I said, how many people are going to be willing to get them CDLs? Or some people would just rather work at McDonald's. I shouldn't have to give up a portion of my CDL check because you want to work at McDonald's so that we could reduce the wealth gap. Now you got to get it like I'm getting it. The socialism theory, it never really works. It just hurts people. Capitalism is the only way. I mean, capitalism has brought millions of people out of poverty, but it's the only way that you will get money is by working for it. But he's right though. Equal opportunity is not the same as equal outcome. Everybody is pretty much dealt the same equal opportunity. I use my brother as an example. I used McDonald's, mechanics, and CDLs as an example. We all have an equal opportunity, but your work determines your outcome. So he's right. If anybody disagrees, let me know in the chat section. We're gonna move on to the next one.